There is a place that light is afraid to touch.
I, of course, am your friend in fright. My name is Chucky Larry.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I don't cut in every once in a while and get to talk.
I hope you don't mind me using the pronoun dude, but what the fuck, dude?
Greetings, fellow insomniacs, and happy Friday the 13th. I am your host. This is the Ghoul Kids Table Podcast, and I'm wearing a Jason mask. But we are going to be ranking the Friday the 13th films from best to worst, top to bottom. But I can't do it alone. I can't wear this the entire time, too. That just seems weird. I am being joined by a couple of people that you may know and love. I know I love them. We're going to start off with the clown that loves to get down, the clown prince of fear, Mr. Arlie Grind. How you doing, my man?
Honk, honk, motherfuckers. I'm doing very, very well. Happy Friday the 13th.
And against her better judgment, she begrudgingly is here. Everybody's favorite, Tragic Rar. How you doing?
Oh, the girl with so many names and multiple personalities. How are you doing?
This is going to be a lot of fucking fun. So, I am a big fan of the Friday the 13th franchise. I fucking love this series. This is second to Freddy Krueger for me in terms of films that I've spent a lot of time consuming and part of my youth. So I'm super excited to talk about these fucking movies today. And it's a complicated web that we weave when we talk about the Friday the 13th franchise, because there is a lot of good, but there is a lot of fucking bad, and we're gonna get through all of it together.
I just want to say, but the bad is still good. If we're talking about franchises, this is a pretty solid franchise. It hasn't deviated much from the formula, and even when it has, it still works. And that's one thing I appreciate about this franchise. I mean, it works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but
and I know that there's one specific movie that is going to land low for one of us and higher for the other. I just know it. Like I just know it. I know that we're gonna cross that bridge very soon.
I'm interested to see which one it is.
Yeah.
This will be.
And the really exciting thing to me is that we have a girl here to judge us. It's the best.
Is this kind of like that OnlyFans thing where you pay for a girl to
rate your wiener?
Yes, I'm here to rate wieners. Thank you.
I am here to rate these movies wieners.
So for everybody listening or watching, I do not have a ranked list, so I will be judging their ranked lists, and it should get interesting.
But before we get into the list, I just want to talk a bit about the history of the Friday the 13th franchise. The Friday the 13th franchise started off with Sean Cunningham hiring Victor Miller to basically reverse engineer Halloween and come up with a holiday that hasn't been done. This is the birth of holiday horror. You can say that its roots are Black Christmas, and then it begat Halloween, which then begat Friday the 13th. And the first Friday the 13th film is legitimately a reverse engineered Halloween. It ventures away from that very quickly, and it becomes something completely its own, though there are similarities between Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers. He's a silent killer, he's unstoppable, but the level of violence in the Friday the 13th films as opposed to the Halloween franchise is next fucking level. And you're allowed to kind of look past some of the flaws because the violence and the tension and everything about it is so excellent. Um, did you guys have thoughts about the Friday the 13th franchise before we got into this?
Sarah, do you have any thoughts that
So
you'd like to share?
one, I love Friday the 13th. I really do. But I only love some of bits and pieces of it. I don't. I'm not a big fan of the whole franchise as a whole, as opposed to just individual movies from the franchise, if that makes sense. Which is why I'm kind of sitting out of ranking today. But whenever it comes to some of the big three, the big five, I actually prefer Jason Voorhees over Michael Myers. And I prefer his stories over any of the Halloween movies. It's to me, it's to your point, it's more violent, gorier, but at the same time, I don't know why, but it just that one pulls me in. Michael Myers doesn't do it for me. So
Early?
Jason, out of the big icons, Friday the 13th, Jason was actually my introduction to these franchise films. It was Jason, then Michael, and then Freddy. And there's a little bit of nostalgia that I have when it comes to Jason, but as Sarah pointed out, this franchise for me has just been a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to consume. It's not convoluted storytelling; it's pretty A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 all the way through. And I guess some of the sequels did get a little weird, but it's still it's a fun franchise, and I like Jason Voorhees. I like Pamela Voorhees. I think these are two really just simple but effective villains that we were given, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Can you see? No, you can't see him. I got some Jasons back there, right there. There's some Jasons hanging out there.
So there are 12 entries technically into the Friday the 13th lore. There's the remake, there's Freddy versus Jason, and there are the New Line films. Some purists do not count the New Line films, but we're counting all of them. And we're going to start with our number 12. And I'm going to start. So I'm going to come in with number 12 being Jason X. I fucking hate this movie so fucking much. I hate this fucking movie. I think this is one of the dumbest things that has ever been done to a fucking horror franchise. When franchises go to die, they go to space. And they damn near killed the entire franchise with one stupid fucking movie to hold over for fucking Freddy versus Jason rather than just waiting, rather than just letting it fucking die down and let the fucking fervor for the Freddy versus Jason film to come. No. We're going to put Jason Voorhees in fucking space. Then we're going to have a school bus that's fucking it's a spaceship that looks like a school bus, and we're going to have teenagers venturing off into the wasteland of Earth to discover the frozen body of Jason fucking Voorhees. Because, by the way, he's cryogenically fucking frozen in fucking carbonite like he's Han fucking Solo with his goddamn machete. And then they're like, oh, we're going to thaw out this chick. We should also thaw out this fucking unkillable thing with a mask on and a fucking machete. That makes total fucking sense. We're in the future. And then they bring him up into space and they have fucking kill scene after kill scene that make no fucking sense. But people go, oh, it's cute. They kill him in VR. And then in real life, that's adorable. Nanobots, fuck you. You can eat my dick. Nanobots, you fucks.
Oh,
How
this is gonna be
goddamn dare you,
this is
Uber
gonna
Jason?
this is gonna be
Uber,
interesting.
eat my shithole. You fuck. What's your number 12?
Stop for a second, please.
Oh, this is gonna be an interesting list.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, but for that explanation alone, that's getting boobs. That's getting boobs.
Jason X just got boobs. Boobs. Boobs.
I want to listen to you talk about that for 2 straight hours because I feel like I can.
Yeah, I think if ever there was a campaign for somebody to want me to come onto their show to talk about Jason X, it was that right fucking there.
He just wanted his machete back.
Oh.
Oh god. Oh.
Oh.
What's
Oh,
your
this
12,
this
Ryan?
ranking's gonna be interesting as hell.
I knew it. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. All right, are we ready for my number 12?
Yeah.
My number 12 is Friday Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now I do want to a little aside here. I actually like every single installment that I'm talking about. There's something about each one that I like. So I'm not going to be judging as harshly. But despite it having that amazing fucking scene where some dude goes, "I'm gonna fight Jason Voorhees bare knuckle." Like, dude, that is the ultimate badass in horror film history. He's like, I know I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna go out swinging. Kudos, like, I salute you. That's amazing. But yeah, Friday Part 8 is my number 12. The whole toxic waste scene at the end. Oh, and that noise. What is that noise that he's making as he's melting? Like why didn't you just throw in, "I'm melting. Oh, what a world. Oh, what a-" like that was Jason 8 gets it just because of that ending. I hated that ending. I thought it was ridiculous. And yeah, so Jason Takes Manhattan, even though it's got some fantastic scenes, that subway car scene, that's an amazing. I don't care what anyone fucking says. That is an amazing fucking.
I haven't
scene.
seen that since it came out, and I remember it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or when he kicks the fucking boombox and then takes off his mask. I love that. But there's some great moments in that movie. But yeah, it is my number 12. It's my number 12.
Perfect explanation. That's also receiving boobs. Thanks.
It's really fun that you say that was your 12 because it's my number 11. I have lots and lots and lots of problems with fucking Jason Takes Manhattan as well. I love all of these films, but I hate fuck some of them. I hate fuck them for fun. And fucking Jason Takes Manhattan, holy fuck, this movie's fucking dumb. We already have to start off with the idea that the lake, Camp Crystal Lake, somehow by the magic of magic leads to the ocean for him to fucking make his way onto a sea liner that's going to New York to get Jason to Manhattan, right?
It almost makes cryogenically frozen Jason more plausible.
Yes, which is somehow fucking unfeasible, but he manages through the magic of magic to not only be electrocuted back to life because people are fucking, and then kills them, gets, because the guy just happens to have a fucking hockey mask, just hanging out. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking have this hockey mask to scare my girlfriend that I'm fucking, and then he's like, yeah, thank you for that hockey mask, I needed one, I lost one in the last one. So then you've got fucking like a retread of the character from the previous film, that asshole doctor, and it's not as good, and there's this weird lecherous quality to him. And then you get to New York, and holy fucking shit, VC Dupree ends up trying to run the fade with Jason, gets his head punched off, and is lower billed in the film than the fucking dog. That is a fact. Look it up. The dog was fucking higher billed than the black man in fucking 1989. It's wild. This shit is.
And he should have been billed fucking higher just because of his scene.
He had
Like-
multiple scenes with dialogue, and he's billed lower than the dog.
That's fucking disgusting.
Oh, so I have a quick question actually. Is Jason Takes Manhattan also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Jason.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
We've
he
got
becomes-
toxic waste. We got a guy with a hockey mask. It's in New York. I'm pretty sure this was their version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You get baby Jason in the window, and then you get baby Jason in the fucking sewer. It's like, what are we fucking doing here? I like the look of Jason in this film. He's got a real slick quality to his overall look. I think Kane Hodder, he's low on my list of the Jasons, and it's recognizable by my rankings, which you'll soon figure out. Yeah, this is terrible. This is a terrible fucking movie, and the redeeming qualities is it's enjoyable because it's bad, and that's not good. I don't fucking like that.
And I do.
I like this franchise and I want them to succeed. And when you put out stinkers, then the franchise goes away for years, only to be brought back with him being killed. We'll get there. What's your 11?
Pacing.
My 11 is Jason Goes to Hell.
There we are.
And it's not that I don't like this movie or appreciate this movie. It's the one film aside from Jason X that really kind of deviates from the formula that I think works so well in the franchise. That's not to say that I dislike this film, because I really, really like this film. It's fun. It's a fun film. Like I love they went a little Halloween with the familial connections and everything else. But I do. I know this is gonna sound gross, but when the medical examiner eats that fucking heart, I love it. It's so gross that I love it. I love it. And
that was my favorite part of that one, actually. was the heart
fucking
eating.
hunkers down on that fucker.
And then what was the bounty hunter's name? The
Creighton Duke.
Creighton Duke. Oh yeah, what a fun character. And it's one of those movies that kind of makes fun of itself. Like when he's driving the kids, he's like, "Oh, going out to Camp Blood, gonna have some premarital sex, gonna do some drugs." He's kind of poking fun at the formula. But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. But and how weird is it that Jason gets killed by Jason, in the sense that Kane Hodder gets his ass handed to him by the character, quote unquote, character that he played. And that's fun too. But yeah, that's my number 11.
I like it. I think it's right where it belongs. It's a little higher on mine, but not much, because my number 10 is Jason Goes to Hell. And it's, again, you see that pattern forming. I think you'll know what my fucking number 9 is pretty fucking easily. But it's such a deviation from the fucking films that it just doesn't work for me. At this point, we're fucking 8 films deep, and the first thing you do is blow Jason up, and then he's not in the movie until the end of the movie, and then he's only in the movie long enough for you to kill him so you can tease Freddy versus Jason, which like, had you had a pivot from Jason Goes to Hell to Freddy versus Jason, get it. totally makes sense.
Yeah.
The fact that it took another decade before it was fucking made,
Right.
like don't make this movie. I've interviewed Andrew Marcus. He's a fucking tremendous guy. He's brilliant, and he was doing what Sean Cunningham had told him, which was don't put that fucking Jason in the movie. If you have to put him in there, barely put him in there. He did not want Jason in a fucking Jason movie. And it's just like at that point, Jason's in the fucking title of the movie,
Right.
but he's not in the fucking movie. What?
Also, that's a big ass frustration too amongst a lot of people. Like, you can't tell me that your little horror heart didn't like twinge a little bit, like with glee over the teaser of Freddy versus Jason, but then they waited so fucking long to get to it. You're like, damn it. Damn it. I got excited for nothing.
Mhm. And it's fucking wild because like it has one of my favorite. It's actually my favorite kill in all of the fucking Friday the 13th films. It is the sex scene in the tent. They're the couple. They're having sex,
Yeah.
and then that fucking spike goes through her, and then slices her open. And if you have the director's cut, you get all of it, and it's fucking gold. Like that's the best fucking kill in all of the Friday the 13th films, and it's wasted on kind of a trash film.
Total trash. All trash.
It's total trash.
Total trash. Hashtag trash.
Oh, are we ready for my number 10?
Yeah.
Friday Part 7. And
Like I said.
so, and it's not like I dislike this film. This was actually the second Friday film that I saw, and it's got some. I love the look of Jason in this film.
Yes.
It's one of probably one of the best looks of Jason in all the films, in my opinion. But and it's really weird that this series took on to the doctors or the teachers, or it turned those people into these quasi villains, and this is one where it definitely it definitely like kind of took that trope and ran with it. Yeah, the doctor in that movie, he's just a fucking scumbag, and try I don't know. And then the ending. This movie is very pro father. I will say that. It's pro dad. It's yay dad, come in and rescue me. No, the ending fucking sucks for me. Conjuring up ghost dad too, and he doesn't even look. Here you go, Jason. Here's a pudding pop.
Here's a pudding pop, Jason boy. Ooh. Here, drink this tea, Jason. It'll help you sleep.
Go sleep. I love at some point in time during the franchise, people are letting him out of places. I love that they're setting him free, and I'm like,
well,
why?
She does it accidentally. So I mean, at least it's not intentional. So I mean,
but
we give her credit
I
for
think
that.
from there on out, everyone, you don't get a pass anymore. You
Yeah.
keep accidentally.
And
letting him
I'm
out.
actually annoyed by our final girl in that. It's not that I didn't empathize with her in the position that she's in and everything that she went through. I just didn't care for her so much. And I've met her at conventions. She's very sweet. She's an awesome
Park
person.
Lincoln.
Yeah, she's
she's
awesome.
great.
She's awesome to talk to. I really didn't, and that's not her fault. That's obviously director and story and everything else. So, but yeah, that's my number 10, part 7.
All right, for my number 9, I am also going with part 7. So this is like a reoccurring theme.
You guys really should have like just collaborated before this.
uh, I I love this movie, but in terms of rankings, it's lower than the other films, and that's the only reason that it's as low as it is. Um, the Dr. Cox, I think his name
Yeah.
is such a fucking villain. It's the guy who played Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do the scene where he does the fucking human shield, and oh, it's like ultimate villain move to me. So I fucking love that character. I I enjoy the idea of Carrie versus Jason in the sense that they're, using this telepathy versus this fucking psycho killer that's, and so here's the argument with these films, and this will be the argument that you hear it all the fucking time. The idea has been done before. We have to do something different. We have to change the formula. Not really. People are okay with you just having Jason appear, kill a couple of people, and then get stopped somehow. Like you really don't have to fix that. It's not broken.
But you understand, Moneypenny. We have to be new. We have to be new. You just did a little bit of James Bondy in there, so I thought I'd contribute my James Bondy. Where's she, Moneypenny? Where's she, Moneypenny?
About that bash. But this was directed by John Carl Buechler, who was also a tremendous like makeup effects designer, which is why the look of Jason is so fucking strong in this movie. He's the one who brought Kane Hodder in because he had worked with him previously on a film, I think it was called Prison. But he's the reason that Kane Hodder is the most recognizable Jason. He's by far the most recognizable. When you think of Jason Voorhees, you think of Kane Hodder, and it's this initial look that most people think of when they think of Jason Voorhees.
Oh, I don't. I always think of Ari.
Yeah,
First
Ari
Jason. First Jason.
Ari Lehman's a cool fucking kid.
He's cool. He's
dude.
cool, but he's milking that first Jason shit.
Have you ever listened to any of his music?
I have, yeah. I've seen him in concert. Yeah,
it's good.
It's not bad. Yeah, like I kind of dig it. Like,
I really like the song Jason is Watching. Jason is watching you and sees everything you do. It's sick, dude. I love it. But yeah, Friday the 13th Part 7 is my number 9. What's your number 9?
My number 9, audience is probably going to hate me for this. The Friday remake.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not that I hated it. I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I'm still trying to figure out how a Mongoloid child is an archery expert. Look, out of all
practice.
out of all the scenes, that was like the one. Like, not only
that's
it's a moving
shot.
It's a moving fucking target. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that you have gone beyond my suspension of disbelief. I cannot, and that's the only reason it's ranked so low for me. Is that one? He's just like, dear God, it's Jason Bourne. Like, everything else works for me. Oh, and there's that cringy ass line that the dude says, "Your tits." Yes. Oh my God, no! Like, really, no.
Fucking stupendous.
So those are the two things about this film that make me rank it so low, because I can watch it and I can enjoy it, and then those scenes happen, and I'm like, fuck, God damn it. Like,
fair.
No fair.
Fair.
Like, you couldn't have had him set fire to the arrow and just like blow up the boat. I know that's still a little James Bondy, but
Yeah.
like it would have still felt like in the realm almost. But yeah, it didn't work for me. It didn't.
Uh,
All right,
What's
all right.
your
Tragic.
number 8?
Wait, tragic roar. Wait, are we getting a
Yeah.
boobs or a trash for the Friday
Lot to
remake?
unpack there. A lot to unpack there. But I'm totally giving boobs to Larry, but trash to you.
It happens.
He clearly practiced a lot. He's fine with it. Also, I will say that lighting.
While defending a pot farm.
Yes.
I will say too, that the whole no, I had it and I lost it. It's gone forever now. Never mind. So, oh, the lighting of the arrow. That tracks. I think that would track for like a camp of lighting an arrow on fire.
Right?
So
Like just something other than
something more. Something
yeah,
a little
then
bit more.
I'm going to sit at least 75 yards on shore and nail someone perfectly on a moving vehicle. Now, I live close to the Lake of the Ozarks, so I know the speed limits and everything else. So let's say they're going about 45 to 50. Hawkeye from fucking Marvel couldn't make that fucking shot, but here a mongoloid masked killer wearing a mask, by the way.
Yeah.
Where? Nope. Sorry. Just. I
More
know
believable than some of the other trash that we've seen. So
Like, I'm just amazed that that's your hang up.
I know, right?
I am
It's
too,
the weirdest
actually.
So
After how many countless conversations with you and the weird shit that you enjoy and like, and that's what you're hung up on.
But it's one of those things. It's like you kind of take that character and try to reinvent it. So, like, there's that one scene where he's got the axe and he does that little run throw thing.
Yeah.
Fucking yes, I fucking love that. That fucking works. But pegging someone from the shore with a bone out.
Hashtag pegging.
Hashtag pegging.
Pegging. Oh, yeah.
Pegging Voorhees.
Pegging boys. Hashtag pegging boys.
All right. For me, my number 8 is Freddy versus Jason. I feel like this movie was a letdown for as long as we waited for it. It didn't really serve either master kind of coherently, and it feels like a sped up matrixy fight when they actually fight. And like, you know, they do the dream world stuff and that stuff's kind of interesting, but then when they bring Freddy out into the real world and they're fighting, like they're doing like bicycle kicks and shit, and
everybody
like,
was kung fu fighting.
What the fuck is going on? Like, that's not either one of their strong
You know what we
suits. Why
need?
are they...
Giant propane tanks.
Yeah. Like there's so much wrong about this movie, and let's not even get into Kelly Rowland's fucking flagrant use of the F word for no reason. And tell me you're watching a movie from before things were PC without telling me you're watching a movie from before things were PC. This shit's brutal, and she's completely hung up on like redoing her face, and it's like what are these characters? What is going on right now? Why is one like a generic Kmart Great Value version of J Muse? Like, why is there a Great Value version of Jack Black? What the fuck is going on? What am I watching?
So essentially, in that movie, they had the wall of tropes, and they just kept throwing fucking every fucking dart. Every dart. You want tropes? We got all the tropes. We got every single one.
They have a fucking Scooby-Doo van. like, what is this? And it tell me that your film was made by somebody that doesn't really understand American culture without telling me that your film was made by somebody that doesn't really understand American culture. Like, this was directed by the guy who did Bride of Chucky. He also directed Warriors of Virtue. Warriors of Virtue is about kung fu kangaroos.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
See, I prefer my kangaroos, Tank Girl kangaroos.
Mhm.
Those are my kind of kangaroos.
Yeah,
Iced
those
tea,
are the kangaroos
iced
I fucks
tea.
with. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Went down a weird hole in my brain with that. But go ahead.
I'm a hop around with a little kangaroo. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to hear Ice-T do his reprise his role from Johnny Mnemonic.
Yo, Johnny, we gotta get out of here. This shit's wild. They're gonna do some weird things to you, but if we don't get out of here right now,
I don't know why I have a dolphin, but I have a dolphin.
I got a dolphin, and I was thinking that maybe like maybe you got like that phone booth thing that we could get into and get away from all of this. You know what I'm saying? Me, you, the dolphin. I call it Brutus.
Perfect. Marvelous. Thank you.
All right.
My
So
number
Go ahead.
my number 8 is Jason X. So I went a little bit higher on my list. One, David Cronenberg. Like
Yeah.
you throw David Cronenberg in it, and I'm gonna like it. That's just who I am. And he's essentially a maskless Decker in that film, which
I don't want him cold. I want him moist.
it's
Hashtag moister than the noise. Chicken federation.
oh, hold on. Oh, the ice is melting. I can't jingle.
Hashtag Jason so moist.
It's got some really fun kills in it. It is a ridiculous movie. I love that they did the sleeping bag kill in there. Like it was. It feels like a fan film.
It is. It has to be.
Yeah, it's a fan film, but it's so much. It's just fun for me. So yeah, that's why I give it my number 8.
All right, now that you both got that one out of the way, I will say that the funniest thing that I ever remember in the history of watching movies came from Jason X. And it's when the nipples fall off of that android and they go ting 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 ting. Fucking dead. Like, just tears.
I like that he upgraded her by fucking her. Like that was the way that
But
she was
she's like,
able to.
do they
upgrade the
look real?
badass.
And all of a sudden they just go ting ting and fall right off. Like, you had no expectation that that was coming at all, and it was the funniest fucking thing.
Oh.
Sorry. Anyway, I figure I had add some thoughts into there.
And where do you rank those rankings?
Oh, those rankings are boobs. Total boobs.
Those were both boobs. Okay.
Boobs.
Both
Yeah,
boobs, nippleless boobs. Yes.
Nippleless boobs.
Hashtag
Nippleless
nippleless
cage.
nippleless cage.
Okay, internet, do your magic. Let's see
Yes.
it. I want to see nippleless cage.
I want to see a
being-
nippleless cage.
Yes.
Sarah, you
Hashtag
got
nippleless
Photoshop.
cage.
You
I got Photoshop.
Let's do
I'll
it.
give you. You want a nippleless cage? I'll get you the nippleless cage.
It's got to be. It's got to be better than his Dracula.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, hot take already. Hot take already.
Oh fuck. All right, number 7.
We're only on 7.
Yeah. We gotta speed through. What do you got, Arlie?
Friday Part 5.
Part 5 is number
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Is it the damn enchiladas?
And so, okay, I do really like this installment a lot. And it, of course, is you have the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and The only reason it's number 7 for me is really just because it's not Jason. I mean that's it. That's really the only reason. If it were Jason,
Mhm.
I probably would have ranked it a little bit higher. And not to say that I don't. I love the concept of this guy witnessing something horrible and saying, "Oh, you know what? I got you. I got you. I'm gonna fuck you
Blame
up."
it
And
on
then
Jason.
yeah, blame it on like that's brilliant to me,
Yeah.
and I really like it. And anytime someone offers me chocolate, I always take it. Like that's let's just be. You want some chocolate? Yes, yes. It's been in my pocket. That's okay. Let me have it. I'll eat it. Thanks, bud. I will never turn down chocolate because of that.
I love
Um,
that. For me, my number 7 is the original.
okay.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, yeah. I feel like it's it's a serviceable film. I think that it is well written. I think that the characters are well drawn out, and you focus more on character in this film than you do in probably any of the other films. But I think that that's also kind of its hindrance when you are comparing it to these other films that come ahead of it. It's not that this is a bad film, it's just, when you're looking at, for me, looking at the Friday the 13th franchise, I'm looking at, the idea of, this kill per minute, violent, dumb slasher film. Like that's what I look at. I look at the Friday the 13th films as like Jason Voorhees films. And that doesn't mean that this is like lesser than, but it is kind of. It's better than the other fucking 5 or whatever it was that we had to go through before we got here, but it's not better than the 6 that go ahead of it, in my opinion.
Uh, oh, my number 6, Freddy
No,
versus Jason.
you're on your number 7. Oh no, you
Oh,
did your number
yeah,
7, didn't you?
yeah.
No, he
Yes,
did
I
his
do.
number 7.
So my
Can't
number.
count trash.
That's usually me. That's usually me. I fucked this
You-
up by this point, but I'm nailing it today. My number 6 is Freddy versus Jason, and the only reason it ranks so high is I love the kills. He folds that dude in fucking half, and like
Yeah.
the beer, oh yeah,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
give it to me, give it to me. I really enjoy the Jason kills. Now, when I ranked this one, because we included it, I tried not to think of the Freddy aspect at all.
Mhm.
I just kept it Jason. Um, and like Jason on fire walking through a cornfield.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And that flaming fucking machete, like
Yep.
getting the Jack Black wannabe.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. You ever think that kid just watches Jack Black now and goes, "That could have been me. That could have been me."
I tried.
I tried so hard.
Got so far. In the end, it didn't
And
It
matter.
really didn't matter.
No, it did not. And another thing about this movie is I kind of like the look of Jason in this movie. He's bigger, badder, and he looks fucking phenomenal in this film. And it's not my favorite Jason look, but still, it's a good look. And everything that you mentioned about what's wrong with this film, I agree with you 100%. I it was chock full of trope, and again, it's one of those films that kind of feels like a fan film. You know, Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason feel like fan films, and I like watching fan films. So
Same.
yeah, so but yeah, that's my number 6.
My number 6 is the 2009 remake. I really enjoyed this fucking movie. I thought that the opening sequence before the title card even comes up, it's fucking phenomenal. It's like the best opening ever in a horror movie, because you get a whole ass movie and it ends super abruptly, and then the title card comes up. It's like, okay, let's fucking go. And you get elements of what you like. They play the hits with Jason in that. But I think it's Derek Mears that plays Jason in
Yeah.
the remake. I thought he was fucking incredible
Oh,
as the
and
character.
he's
thought
massive. He nails
exactly.
he nails the mannerisms,
Mhm.
except for
And-
this. Sorry, I can't let it go.
And those were some stupendous tits, like, you know. So it
I just
it
wouldn't.
hits the marks to me in terms of like a Friday the 13th film.
I just wouldn't call them stupendous. Like, there's so many other words that come to mind. Glorious, magnificent,
He really
amazing.
hung on that stupendous.
But stupendous.
Hashtag stupendous tits.
Oh, so bad.
But I'm gonna go with my number 5. My number 5 is Part 5. I really enjoy this fucking movie. This is, as you had mentioned, a continuation of the Tommy Jarvis story. It plays up, you know, how would somebody recover from something that traumatic happening to them at that early of an age, and the violent outburst at the end of part 4. You know, it's that kid, and you know, they play him kind of catatonic. And I think that it really, you know, the idea was that they were kind of going to pass the torch to Tommy as the new Jason, and they kind of hinted to that at the end of the final chapter. But they were really going that route with the story, and the reaction was so poor, they were like, no, we gotta fucking backtrack this. But I think that, you know, the violence in part 5 is fucking great. Like the kill of Deborah Voorhees with the pitchfork in the eyes, her boyfriend getting the fucking belt tied around his fucking eyes. Like the there's a fucking great song in that fucking movie, the Pseudo Echo, I think it is. Like there's so much that works about Friday the 13th part 5 that I think gets cast aside because Jason's not in it. And you know, it's very much the Halloween 3 of the Friday the 13th franchise, because it isn't, you know, you could also say the same thing about Freddy versus Jason. I just think that the execution of this is better than I mean, not Freddy versus Jason, but Jason Goes to Hell. And I just think the execution of this is better than Jason Goes to Hell, in the sense that they're giving the audience what they want while not giving the audience what they want. And you know, at no point except for the ending of the film do you really like that feels kind of tacked on. Like, okay, this wasn't actually Jason. It feels tacked on, but it's not saying that they weren't telling that story the entire time. And they do tell that story the entire time. Roy he looks like he's going to turn into the Incredible Hulk when he's putting Joey's body into the fucking like it works, dude. And I think that the problem with it is that the genie was already out of the bottle at that point for a lot of people, and they just wanted actually Jason. They didn't want this. And I think that's what does a damn hindrance to this fucking movie. But yeah, that's my number 5. What is yours?
My number 5 is The First Friday. It's a I think it's a fantastic film. You could have done Friday the 13th and just left. Like, if they said, hey, this is just, we're not doing sequels, we're not introducing Jason, I still think it would have held up as a really good slasher flick. I like the twist ending. I love Tom Savini's effects in this movie. We get Kevin Bacon. I guess the most iconic is the Kevin Bacon arrow through the throat.
It's a knife. It's a knife, isn't it?
No, it's an arrow.
It's an arrow.
It's an arrowhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the arrowhead twists around.
Yeah, because
Right.
it twists it. Yeah, and that was to kind of help unclog
The blood.
the blood so
Yeah.
that it would flow freely. But and to me, it's just a really solid like slasher flick. Like if you talk about 80s slasher flicks, this is probably it should be. I think people should take it into consideration and at least evaluate like what do we want from a slasher, and it kind of checks all the boxes.
Mm.
And uh, Pamela Voorhees as the villain, you know, she's got a solid motivation. I love that motivation. It makes sense. Everything about this film makes sense for me. So
That's
That's
like
why
the birth of awesome twist endings, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. M. Night Shyamalan watched that and was like, "Oh, I know what I'm going to do now. What a twist! What a twist!"
Uh, yeah, dude. I mean, you're spot on with your assessment. And if it were a standalone film, this is like historic fucking
Yes.
slasher film.
Yeah.
I think that you know what it became has nothing to do with this film, and you could easily look at this as its own film. And if you look at it as its own film, it's iconic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's terrific, and it did birth what inevitably became a tremendous fucking franchise. So you have to show it its respect. But what's your number 4?
My number 4 is part 2.
Mm.
I really like Baghead Jason.
Mm.
You can't see him, but he's back there on my shelf. Like I bought the NECA figure because it's a really fun film, and of course, as a kid, I saw these kind of out of order, so I try to like imagine myself. I tried to look at this as if I were a moviegoer and I just seen Friday the 13th, the first one, and I come into the sequel, and you know we get it starts out with Jason leaving Camp Crystal Lake and getting his final girl, getting his revenge.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess when you look at the whole canon, it's a little confusing. Like, is he a ghost? Is he real? Is he like what? You know, you have those questions,
Mhm.
but it's still not that far fetched, and it's just a really fun slasher flick. And the kills are fun. It's got one of my favorite final girls ever.
Yep.
Jenny is one of my favorite final girls. She's awesome. The effects are great. Everything just kind of works for me when it comes to this film, and I enjoy it.
For me, my number 4 is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. This is a great fucking movie. This is a lot of fun. This is a lot of people's favorite Friday the 13th film. A lot of people. And I understand why, because it's a good fucking time. Tommy McLaughlin made a fucking banger of a Friday the 13th film. It has a great soundtrack. It's got a nice energy. It's got a good flow. It feels respectful to the films that came before it, but still has its own kind of funny look at the franchise without making everything look ridiculous. And that is, you know, a hard thing to balance, is to balance humor and fear. And a lot of the times you either, you know, serve one master more than the other. And I think that they do a really good job of balancing that throughout the film, because there are moments of genuine terror, and then there's these moments that are just hilarious,
Moments of levity that kind of
Mhm.
give you a chance to breathe
yeah.
throughout
And
the
it's
film.
it's genuine comedy. It's not like bad comedy
Right.
that's just thrown in and kind of feels shoehorned. It everything about it works. And Tom McLaughlin is a really interesting cat. He was a mime for a very long time. He studied in France,
I did not know
and
this.
and he's, you know, a lead singer of a fucking band, the Sloths. And he's a unique fucking dude, and he brings something that doesn't exist in the entirety of the franchise to this film. And I get why people love this film as much as they do. It just doesn't rank as high as the other three films for me. So yeah, my number 4 is Friday the 13th Part 6.
And all the reasons that you listed are why it's my number 3.
Fair enough.
So, it and despite my ranking of part 5, the Tommy Jarvis trilogy is my favorite part of the whole franchise.
Yes.
I love the character of Tommy Jarvis. I love the story, and let's just talk about how he is reanimated in this film. That is a badass fucking. I don't care what anyone fucking. That is so good. Oh my gosh.
I really love the James Bond opening too.
Yes.
Yeah, love it.
But it's just that eye opening and then when he comes up out of the grave and he does that spin and that reveal, it's just like, oh, dude, I just filled the cup. I filled the cup.
Incredible as Jason Voorhees.
I filled the cup. Oh, yeah. So that's why it's my number 3.
I also really like his tackle box or utility belt that he has of just murder implements.
I've got mine.
Yeah,
I've got mine.
I love that. And the yellow gloves, I like that look to Jason. But we're on number 3, aren't we?
Yeah, you're number 3.
So my number 3 is Friday the 13th Part 2. So ours just kind of did a switcheroonie.
Switcheroonie.
We did the same thing with Freddy versus Jason in the remake too, by the way.
Yeah.
I had it the remake at 6 and you had it at 8. And I had Freddy versus Jason at 8 and you had it at 6. Yeah. Just keeping score for the audience.
Great minds think alike. So
Friday the 13th Part 2 is, to me, it's one of the most intense Friday the 13th films. It has this kind of pace that works where it's kind of gradual and it feels like a steam engine, like it's building and it crescendos in the fucking final chasing. And the first 4 Friday the 13th films have the best final girl chase scenes, in my opinion. Amy Steele running through the water and falling and all of that shit, and finding the fucking cabin and then using her child education as her way of overcoming this situation and realizing that Jason has kind of the mind of a child. She had sussed him out in the bar, and it fucking works. He has this shrine to his mother, which I thought was eerie and gothic and creepy, and
I love that though. I do.
It has this campfire tale quality to it, to the point that they have somebody tell a campfire story of the first Friday the 13th film, and I fucking love everything about this movie because it really captures the summer camp essence while not being beholden to the summer camp, and that fucking works. So yeah, that's why Friday the 13th Part 2 is my number 3. Well, what is your number 2?
All right, everyone's gonna laugh. Part 3 is
my number 2 as well. So our number 2 and our number 1 are the same. Holy shit.
They are. Yeah.
Dude.
So
fucking number 3 is the best of the fucking
it's so good.
It's so fucking wildly good, and it a lot of people they're preoccupied with the 3D aspect to it, but it's such a small aspect to that fucking movie.
It really is.
And they tell a really fucking solid fucking Friday the 13th movie. That's Steve Miner did that one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
He did 2 and 3.
and this is where we get the iconic mask
Yeah.
and everything. Like, okay, so I know I had issues with the whole bow and arrow.
Uh-huh.
The spear gun actually makes sense to me though.
Yeah.
Like that because he's not that far
Yeah. Just
and
across the lake.
just
I love how every time you bring up the bow and arrow, you do the motion.
I
That
do.
actually, that makes me so ridiculously happy. You have no idea.
Oh. Okay, look, he had perfect fucking form. I did archery for like 5 years, and he had perfect fucking form with that. And no, no,
Bogus.
but
Bogus.
but here's another weird thing that I love about 3 is Shelley.
Yes, dude.
I don't know why I fucking love that
Larry
character
Zerner.
so much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that character
Yeah.
so much because that was me.
I'm not an asshole. I'm an actor. Same difference. Yeah. Love
but
him.
but yeah, he's and you don't really see. I mean, you in later horror films, you got that character. They kind of reprise that type of character. But he's so wholly unique, and he's like the first time you ever really get that type of character, which is great. You got the bikers,
Yes.
which are just a lot of fun, and
Is that
you
your
made
rubber?
and you made a great point of bringing up like people getting hung up on the 3D aspect of it. I would have loved to have seen this on the big screen in 3D.
Right?
Like that would have been fucking. I want to see the eyeball pop out. I want to see the snake jump out. I want to see
That
the
would've
fist
been
go through the
cool.
window. Like I wanted,
Yes.
yeah, all of that would have been so awesome to see. And but I don't think it doesn't take away from the actual film itself. Like for me, those are great shots and they're great kills and they're just great moments in the movie. And I fucking love it. Yeah. It's
And the scene at the end of the movie where she's on the boat and Jason sees her in the window and his mask comes up.
yes.
Oh god damn it. That is one of the
It's
scariest
it's
fucking moments.
yes, it's fucking freaky. It
Dude.
like I'm replaying it in my head right now, and
Mhm.
it kind of gives me a little bit of a chip. It's like hey bitch, I got you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah.
And it's that reveal and everything, and then he starts running down. Oh
Oh
god,
dude, yeah.
fuck.
And they do that with the mask coming up when he's hanging too. When he's
Yeah,
Oh, so good.
yeah. It's so our number one is obviously 4. Like
Yes.
the,
Yes.
in my opinion, the best Friday the 13th film.
Absolutely the best Friday
Yes.
the 13th film. It has the most heart of all of the Friday the 13th films, like the hands fucking down.
Absolutely.
It has the most style. It brings back Tom Savini. They introduce the character Tommy Jarvis, who's basically a play on Tom Savini. He's a effects artist who is very much to himself, and like having that element adds a lot to the character for me. Being a horror fan and loving all of that, like they do it without it being like Randy Meeks, where it's like I'm a horror fan and I'm going to make references. Like
Right.
he's just an awkward kid, and you get the innocence of him when he's like seeing the girls and they're doing lurid things, and he's like hitting the bed and he's carrying his kid. Like
Yeah.
there's this innocence that's there that kind of balances with the heinous violence that happens in this movie. And it has one of the best fucking scenes in all of the films. I'm talking about the dude who's hunting Jason. He goes through that whole fucking thing of like hunting him, and he's like, I'm studying him, and he's got newspaper clippings and all this shit. And he fucking gets face to face with it. He's like, oh my god, he's killing me! He's killing me! It's the funniest fucking moment because he's like, run, he's murdering me.
So it's interesting the Tommy Jarvis Tom Savini connection because Tom Savini was into makeup long before he went to Vietnam. But then he goes to Vietnam and he uses that knowledge of makeup, and he kind of used that as a way to kind of reconcile some of the horrible stuff. He was a combat photographer, so he was knee deep in the real shit, and it translates to Tommy Jarvis, who is like, I'm witnessing this horrible shit. What do I do? And so he incorporates what he knows to kind of deal with that. And I think that's kind of a really special thing about this movie, and the connection with Tom Savini, not just doing the effects and everything else, but it's you get a fantastical tale of Tom Savini dealing with PTSD and some of the traumas that he endured in reality. And I didn't make that connection until later in life, learning more about Tom Savini. But I think it's just, I think it's fantastic. Tommy Jarvis, excellent character. The dog. How many of us held our breath? Like, don't kill the dog. Oh yeah, kill those motherfuckers, but don't kill the dog. No, don't kill the golden retriever.
And it also has the best dance scene in all of cinema history. Hands fucking down.
Crispin Glover. Put that in your computer.
Love is a lie. No way, not tonight.
Oh,
I love it. Yeah, no, it is hands down the best. And if that was the last of the Friday the 13th films, what a way to go out, right?
Right.
I mean, like, it is a pitch perfect horror film, and it's scary, it's funny, it's got heart, it's got gore, tremendous gore. When the fucking dude gets killed in the shower and the hand goes through his fucking head,
yeah,
fuck yes. Anyway, let's get.
We got so many great variety of kills too. Like, nothing is it's not formulaic. Everything's kind of unique in its way. Like, one of the twins gets tossed out of the window and like, smashes that car. Oh, I don't know why that's satisfying to me, but
Want to give Teddy Bear a kiss.
But
yeah, man, we did it. We ranked the Friday the 13th films, and we came in very, very similarly, which was interesting.
Weird. Yeah.
It is weird. I have some thoughts to share on your rankings, actually, if you don't mind.
Oh, shit.
I was patiently waiting. So no, actually, I think your guys' lists are dead on. And to the audience, honestly, we have conversations like this all the time, literally all the time. And for me, being a part of the Ghoul Kids table is with lists like this, and one of the reasons why I sat here through it is because I get to learn some stuff from these two because they're awesome and whatnot. So one of the things that I've learned today is I need to watch Jason Lives again. I have not seen it in a very, very long time. So that's something that I need to do and maybe have a homework assignment. I would like to add some thoughts on Freddy versus Jason. Is it the best in the world? No. Is it the worst in the world? No. But I think Freddy versus Jason is that prime, all horror fan across the globe learned to not put that much expectation into anything because you never know what you're going to get. Personally, for me, Freddy versus Jason is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I consider it a parody. It's not a legit horror movie, in my opinion, allegedly for legal purposes. You have to almost view that as it's a parody. And it's just a fun watch, just like Alien versus Predator is a fun watch. Like, you have to let go of your fandom at that point in order to enjoy it so much. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as my favorite is concerned, I will say that my favorite is part 2. Part 2 is my favorite. I absolutely adore the original. I will always adore number 1, but to the same reasons why you guys listed for your number 2 is the same for me. The best final girl, in my opinion. I absolutely love that movie. I absolutely love it. So honestly, I would say, sitting here listening to you guys, I think both your rankings were boobs. Awesome boobs with nipples. Okay. Because we like nipples around here, right? We don't want those fake ones that just fall off and tink, 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 tink.
I don't know. I'm excited to see Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
So.
Nicolas Cage.
I'll
has
get
to happen.
bored during the week and I'll be like, hey guys, want to see something cool?
Please do. Please do. That's gonna be her new logo.
Make sure to add the teeth from Renfield.
Oh. Mm.
All right.
That's gonna have to be a TikTok.
Yep.
Oh, real quick, let me ask you guys. She brought up Alien versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Keep one, get rid of one completely.
Keep Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, I can't do that.
Sure you can. You can do it.
I'm keeping Alien versus Predator.
Okay,
Begrudgingly.
I'm keeping Freddy versus Jason. I just thought that was, yeah. I was like, oh hey.
I hate you both for putting me in that position. I love both equally for the same reasons too, because like I don't take them seriously. You can't take them seriously because the first time watching those, you're as a fan, you're like, the hell is going on here? But after, I don't know, like my son is a big fan of both of those movies, so I've had to watch them over and over and over again. You kind of appreciate them for what they are after, I don't know, the 5th or 6th time you've watched them. So I don't know, they're just fun. They're just fun throw on movies. You know what I mean?
Oh, we should rank the Alien and Predator series someday.
We'll
soon.
get around to it. I'm
Yeah.
sure we will. There'll be a reason. But we are going to get out of here, you guys. We want to thank you for listening to us rank the Friday the 13th franchise from worst to best. But we want to hear your opinions. So in the comments, please give us your rankings for the Friday the 13th franchise from best to worst. You know how that works. I think you're smart enough. But if this is the first time that you're hearing the show, we are available in a couple of different ways, and we're going to start with Arlie. Where can they find you?
You can find me on TikToks. It's at Arlie Grind. You can find me on Instagram, Top Shelf Horror. You can find me on Twitter at Arlie TSH. You can find me on Facebook, Top Shelf Horror. And we've got a Discord too. We've got a Ghoul Kids Discord. Just hit one of our link trees in our TikToks and come join us on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tragic Raw, what about you?
Oh, everybody can find me on the TikToks at Tragic Rar.
That's RAWR. Rower.
He was on it this week.
I learned.
Also, if you watch or listen to us long enough, you will understand all of our inside jokes, which is 90% of our content, actually. So hashtag Taters Precious.
Hashtag configuration.
And if you want to follow the show, you can do that in a couple of different ways. You could start by liking us on Facebook, facebook.com/Ghoul Kids Table. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghoul Kids Table. You can follow us on Instagram at GKT Podcast and on the Tickle Talks at Ghoul_Kids_Table. We're available on YouTube, where there's a plethora of things for you to consume and enjoy. There's Top Shelf Horror, there's History of Horror, there's Creature Features, and these countdowns. They're available all in different categories, playlists. You can find what you're looking for very easily. And if you wanted to follow me, you can follow me as well. I'm at CreaturePod everywhere in the world of social media, with the exception of Tickle Talks, because I tickle pee. And
stupendous bean.
I tickle stupendous peen, and Tickle Talks is very anti-peen.
They don't like the stupendous bean.
Hashtag free the stupendous peen. it's a cause. It's a real cause
It is.
that I've set up a
no
GoFundMe for.
censorship on the peen.
Yeah, free the peen, free the stupendous peen. But
That was some stupendous pain too.
the peens were stupid. You want to see what I'm talking about? Go to our Twitter. You'll see a video, a version of the video.
Is it on? It's on
It's on
Instagram
Twitter.
too?
It's
On
not
Twitter.
Instagram.
Oh, Twitter.
Instagram would totally be like, no. But it is on the Ghoul Kids Twitter, and that's at Ghoul Kids Table. If you want to go look at some peen, we got you covered with peen.
Look. If you've made it this far and you just are a fan of Fight Club, I highly recommend just checking out the video. It's Tyler Durden would be proud.
Solid reference there.
It's solid.
Solid scene.
There's a couple of solid beats. But that is going to do it for us, you guys. So for Tragic Roar, for Arlie Grind, for Jason Voorhees, and for myself, again, my name is Chunky. This has been another episode of the Ghoul Kids Countdown on YouTube. Listen with someone you trust.